Hello and good evening to everyone. My name is AJ Dean. I am your co-host at Ninon Speaks Media Image, and it's my great honor to introduce the award-winning international spokesperson, Ninon de Rosa. Hello, Ninon.
What an incredible introduction that is. Hello, AJ. How are you doing?
I'm great, thank you.
You know, before we go any further, I would like to thank Georgette Denti, because Georgette has been such an inspiration with this show. This is a fairly new show. And of course, AJ is been 100% behind it. But Georgette has been absolutely amazing. And it's just, it's incredible to have somebody or have people like that behind you when you're doing something, because normally most people sort of get jealous or they can't be bothered or whatever. But there's also a couple of other ones. There's also Steve Bannon. Steve Bannon, Steve, how are you? I hope you're watching. Well, if you're not watching now, but you'll be watching when we put it up. But I hope you're feeling better. It was very bad. In fact, he did go to the hospital, came out, and everything was fine. So apparently, AJ, is he 100% now?
I think he is recovering and doing very, very well. And knowing Steve Bannon, he is a super strength, so he's going to be back full force just like he was before. I also want to say hello to Susan King.
Susan King. Hi, hello, where are you? You're an amazing woman. She is actually and where is she situated? In Paris?
Yes, she's in France. So we want to give a shout out to her.
I envy her. I want to be in France, and she probably wants to be in America. We all want to be somewhere where we're not, right?
Yeah. And speaking of sparkling and magical things, wonderful things, I have a great show with you tonight. I'm honored. And can I admit them? We have...
Yeah, let's start the magic. You've got some magic people floating around or something. I don't know what you've got going on here, but you've got something, Illusionist.
We have Dixie Dooley, who is a master illusionist and mystifier, and he met Michael Jackson, actually, and he has worked for the greats. He's got something about Houdini he wants to mention. He even performed for the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia. And we also have Zamora, the Torture King. He's going to do a very special and unusual performance that has never been done before on your show, Ninon. And
hey, wait a second, you're missing out one thing. Who's the woofie? There's a woofie there.
This is Gracie, the Wonder Dog. It's her first appearance on Ninon Speaks. And we also have Mary Hida from the Women's Federation of Peace with a message of hope and empowerment.
Oh, well, we definitely need you. We definitely need you, Mary. That's for sure. Well, what a wonderful group we have together. You're all looking absolutely wonderful. Zamora is the one with glasses. Which one is Zamora?
The one with Gracie.
Gracie. Okay. Well, how are you all?
Great.
Mary, how are you doing?
Oh, excellent. Yeah.
You know, you have, I'm sure you've been told this before, but you have a beautiful smile. You have a smile that actually reflects and brings somebody into you. You've got like, you're very interested in them and you want to know. And probably that's true because you're all about peace, right?
Yes, that's true. Yeah.
Okay, and let's go over to these two famous looking men here. I love the glasses.
Yes, that's Dixie Dooley.
Is that Dixie? Is that? Oh, well, Dixie Dooley just vanished. I don't know where Dixie Dooley went, but Dixie Dooley disappeared. Well, he'll be back, I assume. He was fiddling with the other guy next to him was fiddling with something, so don't worry. But Mary, oh Mary, do you have something on your hands with this peace thing? I mean, there's no peace anywhere. The whole world is in an uproar. What do we do?
Oh, what do we do? We come together.
Huh?
Because most of us want peace anyway.
Yes.
So we come together and work together.
Okay.
Mainly.
So what is your organization, Mary?
Well, I can tell you a little bit by telling you what the vision is.
Yes, please.
The vision is working women working together to establish a culture of heart in the family, genuine and sustainable peace, empowering women with knowledge, skills, and supportive community to discover their unique value and lasting peace. So what is our organization? It's worldwide.
Are you worldwide?
We're very worldwide. Yes, we're in just about every country in the world.
So you and COVID-19 are worldwide.
Yes, we were that. We already worked that way before. Our organization started in 1992 with a great vision by our founder, who we call the Mother of Peace, Dr. Hak Ja Han Moon. She's actually written a book, Mother of Peace. And if you want to find out about this book, motherofpeacebook.com.
Motherofpeacebook.com. So don't forget to register for that book, and maybe you can buy. This would be a great time, Mary, for everybody to actually read that book, because I think we're all looking for peace, tranquility, and everything else. I'm going to go over to Dixie Dooley because I want a little magic, little stuff going on here. Dixie Dooley, how are you?
I am fine. How are you?
I'm very well. What's the name of your woofie?
My little Jack Russell is Gracie Rose.
Gracie Rose. That's funny because my mother wanted to name me Gracie. She wanted to name me Grace instead of Ninon, but I got stuck with Ninon and not Grace. So many times I call myself Grace because Ninon is complicated. So your dog and I have something in common.
She's my baby.
Oh, your baby. Well, Jack Russells are very good dogs, actually, aren't they?
They're very smart. Her granddad was famous. He was in movies.
Oh, really? What movies?
If you ever see some of the old circus movies where you see a dog that would do a backwards flip, you may have seen it in documentaries and all on the circus. That's her granddad. His name was Flip.
Oh, yeah, and he flipped all right, right?
Yeah.
He was a flipper.
And I use her in the show, and she's very smart. She's probably, I guess, the smartest dog I've ever used in my magic show.
Why do you like to bring dogs into your show? Because I think that's fascinating. I like that.
I don't really like to. It's just that I get tired of leaving her at home and having to go to shows, and she loves it so much. She loves the people. She loves the response, and she goes, she'll be like, let's go do it again. Let's go do it again. She's very into it. She loves it. She's got one trick, and I'll say, do your trick, and she'll run right over to it and get ready to do it, and she's perfect.
How fabulous. So you're never alone, are you?
Never alone. No, not when you have your babies with you.
Now, Zamora is next to you, and he is you're the torture king.
They call me the torture king. That's a traditional name for the type of sideshow performer doing a pain control act. Things like laying on a bed of nails and walking on broken glass, things like that.
Oh, how lovely. I've always dreamt of doing that.
The whole point is overcoming the pain and the injury.
Yeah, that's like walking on coals, isn't it?
Yes,
I've been that close to walking on coals, and I don't know if I chickened out or what. I probably chickened out, and it is mind over matter, isn't it? Actually.
Yes, there's a lot of your state of mind is involved in that. I got to ask you, if you're doing a fire walk, was it in one of these kind of seminars, or I don't know what to call it, but they were sort of doing these in the 80s or so, where you would do a kind of a mental preparation, and at the end of it, you would a big group would walk over a fire.
What remarks have you had from people over that? Because they've got to look at you and see you do this, and it's not a normal thing to do, but it's a gutsy thing to do, I mean, really.
Kind of. The whole point, however, it's like, it's kind of shocking, but it's like fun at the same time. It's kind of like a horror movie. You're going on a roller coaster. There's this kind of like visceral reaction to it, but it's something that people kind of can relate to. And, it's because not everybody is doing it because it's normal. That's the whole point of it,
I think Zamora has a special trick that he would like to do. Zamora, take it away.
If you'd like me to show you something,
you got a trick. You got a trick for us. Hey, Mary, watch the trick.
Well,
I can show
I'm
you,
gonna
we've got a light bulb. Usually we've got a light bulb done with it.
Yeah, there's a light bulb.
I can use it, however. Got just to hold the glass here.
Okay.
And try to do this all on camera here. We're going to put it on the surface.
I'll hold this for you.
So it's never going to go off. You see, this is the bulb. We're going to take the handle here.
Right,
Break it
broken
into
it.
shards.
Oh my.
And we can show.
The bulb breaker. A bulb. I mean, sure I said that the right way.
And put that down now, and you can see the shards. It's got, you know, I've got to be careful. I've got to be got some stuff on the inside. Now I think I've done something, but it's got some powder, and I got to think about my health before I do this. I want to wipe that powder off. Not quite sure what it is. Some people tell me.
What is the powder? It could be something. It could be devastating for your body.
That's right, but I've got to think about my health when I do
But
something.
keep up with your hands, because your hands you usually put on your face or in your mouth or whatever the case may be.
But
you better be careful. Oh, what? Oh, more
literally a
glass.
light snack.
Oh,
My gosh. Oh my stars. Wow. Wow.
oh.
Oh, Mary, it's okay. Hang in there.
Okay.
Oh,
Now you're going to swallow it down, huh? Okay.
oh, goes all the way down.
He's probably got a bulb. He's probably got a bulb down here or something. I mean,
Wow.
Dixie Dooley, have you seen this before?
Actually, I want some. He's
Well, I've
He's,
got news for you.
he's
I don't
sharing
want any.
Nothing in the mouth,
I don't want it.
all the way to the stomach and to points beyond.
Amazing.
Oh my goodness.
Broken glass.
So,
tubes. Some of my throat here still. I gotta wash that now.
Zamora has just had dinner. Okay.
Well, and Dixie, how about you?
Is that the
What
end of it?
about me? I'll show you something called the Egyptian water box.
Yeah, show me something.
The
Mary, we're having
Egyptian
a
water
free show
box.
here, aren't we?
Okay.
Mary, can you do any tricks?
This is it.
Well,
Okay. And this you can look at really close, and it can examine. You can look right through there. You see anything
Oh,
in
yeah,
there?
hello. Yeah, I can see you.
I'm gonna take some more.
We gotta keep it in camera here.
Zamora's glass of water here. I'm gonna pour it in there just like so. And
Wow. Where
disappear.
So the water vanished.
Yeah.
Well, unless you're sitting on a wet patch.
Only two
Wow.
here in the glass.
Okay.
It's an illusion.
I just love magic. I think magic is so fascinating and intriguing, and it gets your brain. You start thinking, how do they do that? And how much time does it take? Or both of you, this question is at to learn these tricks and to do these tricks.
Well, it just depends on what illusion or what effect you're doing, how long it takes, and how much time it takes to eat a light bulb. I imagine it takes a lot more time than to learn the Egyptian water box. So I can teach you the water box in about 5 minutes,
Yeah, whereas the light bulb is something different.
I'll tell you,
Right.
when I first began to do this, it was pretty much a lost art. It
Yeah.
was something that I'd only read about in books, and I had never seen anybody doing it in real life. Maybe
Yeah.
some old films had shown some of these people doing these acts. The information was really hard to find. And I was part of a show that began in the very early 90s in Seattle. It kind of revived the old sideshow arts and put them in rock and roll kind of venues, like places where rock bands would normally play, and eventually got performing on rock festivals.
Yeah.
So it took a long time to figure out, get the old kind of lost arts to find out. And in fact, some of the stuff written about how it's done is completely wrong. And the problem with what I do, if you do it wrong, you get hurt,
Of course. Yeah,
There's a very fine margin of error. If you do this right, you just got to be careful, whatever the case. If you do it wrong, there's hospital bills involved. So kind of self-correcting in some ways.
Some of it's like the art of escapology when it comes to magic, you know.
Yeah.
Like learning to do the upside down straight jacket, things like that. Like I'm the only one that's done the upside down straight jacket like 4 times here in Las Vegas, including in front of the Las Vegas Plaza hotel where I had my Houdini show years ago. And so when you learn things like that, escaping from handcuffs, straight jackets and all that, it's kind of along those lines, as long as you're doing it legitimately and not using fake handcuffs or fake.
You're like a contortionist.
Yes, yes. Mm-hmm.
I mean, getting yourself wrapped up in, you hate to say it, but my sister was like that quite naturally. She would get herself twisted in all sorts of crazy things. And we used to sort of say to her, how did you do that? And she used to do sort of things like that, but hers was like rather sort of natural.
Yeah.
Now, let's just go over to Mary a second. Mary, what do you think of all this? You're going to change your job now and become a magician?
I've got my good friend Georgette, you know, she's kind of opened me up to all kinds of things because she's
Georgette
an
is
entertainer her whole life.
Yeah.
Just the sweetest lady. She works a lot with us at Women's Federation. She always attends our events, and she offers her time and effort, you know, for different things. She's just an amazing person. For a person who didn't have a lot of external education, as we say, she knows so much about life, and that's why I love her.
She's a natural-born knowledge book. She's like a dictionary. She's very natural.
Full of love and just knows so much about them.
She does.
And she can relate to all kinds of people. She
seems to know. She's very confident within herself. Actually, you know, sometimes I never went to school either, so we have quite a lot in common there. But sometimes when you don't know one thing, you actually gravitate to find out another way to do it or a different way to do it. And that's what makes you very different, because you're not doing it the same way as everybody else, because you don't know. And I know, because I know what she went through, because I know what I went through, and it's very similar. So, and I would never advise anybody, any man or woman, not to send their children to school. I would never advise that, never. It's a horrible thing when from kind of 16 to 25, you're in this rut, you're in this.
Well, she's a survivor. She's definitely a survivor of all that kind of thing,
So
along with my good friend Amy Kardashian, she also.
Oh, Amy as well, we've had her on our show, actually. So with your peace movement right now, are you concentrating a little on the COVID side of trying to help people? Because you're in Vegas, right?
Yes.
Okay, because there's a lot of homeless people here. There's a lot of people on the streets. There's a lot of people, and especially the younger generation that live under the tunnels. They live in the tunnels and they live under the freeways. Now, they used to go to school and get their lunch and their breakfast and their lunch, and then they would have something to take home with them. Now they don't have that. What do you do anything about that? Do you help them?
We haven't done a lot during this COVID time, because a lot of us are actually trying to stay home and not do too many things outside. But we do a lot of educational programs, and we have done quite a few seminars online, and we had we do a lot through Zoom and things like that. I think we will be involved with the homeless shelters and things like that a little bit more.
Especially the teenagers and the young people that they don't even have a mom and dad to go to. So
you are so right. You're so right. So our heart does go in that direction, and education and helping out in different ways is definitely where our heart is. Definitely.
Yeah, it's so fun. I'm looking at this show that we're doing today, and we've got you with the peace and the helping and everything else, and then we've got Dixie Dooley and Zamora. And
I love Gracie's dress. What do you think of Gracie?
Gracie's got her pink on. I mean, excuse me. Look,
she dressed up just for you.
I love it. I think it's beautiful, isn't it? Isn't that amazing? AJ, you're looking at these two gentlemen that are doing all these magic tricks and everything else. Amazing. This is what we need, isn't it?
Yes, it is. And I love these two guys here. They're absolutely wonderful, and what they represent. They love magic and inspiring and giving hope to people, which is what your heart is all about, Ninon. And I think Dixie has something you wanted to mention about Houdini. Is that right, Dixie?
Oh yeah.
Let's get some Houdini going.
I'm one of the. I own one of the world's most unique collections of Houdini memorabilia, and this is a printing plate that came from his home in New York City, and it belonged to Houdini personally. Wow. And he printed flyers around 1912 with it, and it's part of my collection. I'll show you here the actual flyer that it printed, so you can see it.
All right, Gracie.
There you go.
Oh, look at that. That's amazing.
Yeah, it's a very collectible. And
it's funny, I see the name Harry Houdini. We always say Houdini. Now, doesn't Houdini have a lot of stuff at the Magic Castle in Los Angeles?
Well, actually, I'm friends with the owner. Milt Larson and Bill Larson actually started the Magic Castle, and his dad was the attorney for Bess Houdini, and that's how they have the connection there with the Houdinis and all for years. I've been friends with the immediate family of Houdini. Marie Blood was a dear friend of mine for years and told me all kinds of stories because she used to live in the house in New York in the summertime with Houdini when she was a little girl. And he used to take her by the hand to the theater, and she'd sit in the back, and he'd call her up during the intermission onto stage, and she'd get a big round of applause. And he told me all kinds of unique stories, and it's very interesting to hear it from the horse's mouth from someone who was actually there.
And also to have somebody like that, there's always somebody very famous, and I'm gonna like a Michael Jackson, the greatest singer probably in the world. I'm quoting from somebody else that said that, but I've also.
Well, I performed for him right before he passed away. I did Prince Michael's 7th birthday at his house here with all of his little children and all, and got to know Michael. Spent the whole day with him, and he was a great guy. He loved magic. He really loved magic, and I was going to sneak him over to the house to see some of the Houdini stuff late night when no one would bother him or whatever, and it never happened because he passed away, unfortunately.
Wow, what a memory of him that you performed for him. That's amazing. I don't know why.
Oh, it was surreal sitting there listening to his voice as he commented. I'd do a magic trick, he'd go, "Oh, that's really cool. I really like that." And to hear this voice that you've heard on record all your life, and to hear it in person was.
I was going to say, to actually be in front of him and listen to him, what an honor. You've had an amazing life. Well, both of you have had amazing life. How are you coping with right now? Are you doing your shows online or offline? Like Mary is doing a lot of her stuff online. And so are you doing the same thing?
Well, I was doing up to 378 shows a year, and that's a lot of shows between my theater at the Royal Resort, the Majestic Theater, and the other theater at my magic shop there at the Boulevard Mall. And that all got into a halt because right now you can't do shows. So I'm coping with it pretty good because I've used my time wisely. I'm a writer. I write, and I'm writing a new thing called Time Travel, which takes you back in time. We just recently got back from Tombstone, Arizona, where they had the gunfight at OK Corral and all that. And I'm wearing my gunfight shirt right now. But anyhow, we went down there, and so I'm writing about all these things, including my visit to Houdini's house and Marilyn's grave, which we were on last time at Marilyn's grave. Remember?
Yes.
Yeah. And so different stories like that. I'm using my time to write. The magic shop is open every day, and just spending my time doing catching up on all the things that I always wanted to do, but I was too busy because I was doing shows.
You're right. This is a great time for catch-up time, so let's not waste our time. Zamora, what about you? How are you coping with everything? Are you coping with the dog, Grace? Goodbye, Grace.
Yes, she saw something. Oh, yes, she's got herself a flow over there. Going to attack her. She. I actually did perform in the Halloween season at Knoxbury Farm.
Yes.
Really?
Gracie doesn't want you to hear about it though. But, it was did an event which was different than their normal event, and it had a lot of restrictions about what could be done. And it was the Taste of Halloween at Knoxbury Farm in Southern California, Orange County.
Yeah.
And I worked there. It was supposed to, it got bigger and bigger. It was supposed to be just Friday, Saturday, Sunday, but they sold out, and then they added more days, and they sold out those, and they added more days. So in October, I had not performed at Knott's Berry Farm. I used to be a regular there for the Halloween haunt.
Yeah.
And they changed a lot of things, and I hadn't been there for at least 5 years. And then out of the blue, at the time I least expected to get called back to Knott's Berry Farm, I get a phone call and end up somehow performing, though in a different manner than normal, at Knott's Berry Farm for Halloween, and one of the few people who did. Knott's Berry Farm is still, I think they have a Christmas thing happening, and it's very different than their normal events.
You're talking about the Halloween that just passed?
Yes, the Halloween that just passed.
You even got a job, but you even got that and even doing that because
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
Gracie,
She commented on it.
yeah, she likes the idea of it. You know, she likes
I'm one of the few people. Usually, people work a lot in these kind of Halloween theme parks, but I'm one of the few people who had a gig for Halloween theme park this year, which was really amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. So, are you also catching up on all the things you need to do, because this is kind of?
I sure would like to be, but I'm up at Dixie's Magic Shop instead.
What about this? Oh, let me just go over to Mary, but then I'm going to come over to the magic shop. Mary, you were holding something up. What were you doing?
In the interest of time, I thought I'd better at least get our email out there so people can contact us.
Okay. Well, that's what is it? WFWP. What is it? Las Vegas.
NV.
Las Vegas, Nevada, gmail.com. Okay, so it's WFWP dot, and that's in Las Vegas at gmail.com. Did I get that right, AJ?
Absolutely. And I just wanted to mention real quick, for the international aspect, Mary is a part of an amazing organization. 4,000 women sent out into 120 nations around the world to find out what they needed to be successful. And the research, what did they find, Mary?
They found that practically everywhere in underdeveloped and developing countries, the main thing they needed was education. So they set up schools all over the world, but especially we work with we raise funds for the Women's Federation Schools of Africa, and they have been around for over 2 decades and improving all the time. And we are in the United Nations as a 501c3 in a consultative status, which is a very high status in the United Nations. So
it's funny you should say that, because a few years ago, I went to Nairobi and went to a couple of the little towns around there. And through my organization, which at that time was called Kids Talk Foundation, we actually built a school.
Mm-hmm.
And we raised money here in Los Angeles at that time. And we actually had the school built. And then I went over with my crew and we made a documentary on all what we had done and how we had done all this. And we actually cut the ribbons and everything for these children that did not have a father or a mother. They were
oh my goodness, yeah.
We actually built this. We also bought a house, a big house there for little babies. But a lot of these children would go home to any place they could find where they could sleep. None of them had homes, so we built this home for the babies. And then we built this school, and it was amazing to see their little faces. And it was such a simplistic thing that we did, but to them it was not. It was like this. All this suddenly happened, and they actually had desks.
Yes.
And when they would sit down, they would all get worms and everything because of the mud. They would be sitting on the mud. So we had many places where they would have gone to school. We actually did the concrete, and then we bought tables and things. We did a lot for them over there in Nairobi and different.
Oh, yeah, Kenya. We have schools in Kenya as well. Yes, yes.
We did that in Kenya, and it was such a worthwhile thing. And I know this was like magic. Dixie, this was all like magic. We all got together, and we all sort of, there you go. And it was, when you start something and you get all these people helping you, it's amazing what you can do, and the cooperation you get, and you said, and you can actually see the money being used for what you want.
Yes.
So
Yes.
you go ahead, AJ.
Dixie, do you have a book or something that you sell from your wonderful magic store? Do you have a book or a DVD? I wanted you to mention. It's really.
I've got both. This is a 544-page book, and it tells all about the upside down straitjackets and kind of like my life story in stunts and all. It's called Exploits of Mr. Dixie Dooley. And this is a book that I wrote years ago. Over a period of time, people would come up to me and they'd say, tell me stories about Houdini and stories that they had heard about Houdini. Mm-hmm. And so I wrote them all down. And whether they're true or not, in this book, it's kind of like a Houdini Believe It or Not. Yeah. Stories about him being blinded in his left eye because a gentleman, a waiter, dropped a plate and it flew up into his left eye. And for the last year of his life, he was blinded in his left eye and he had all of his photos retouched. Stories like that go on and on. People who claimed that they were related to him, illegitimate sons and daughters, and just all kinds of unusual stories. It's very fascinating read. It's different. Gracie likes it a lot.
She's agreeing with it all.
And I got one more book. These are all on Amazon.com, by the way. And it's called From Death He Departs. And this is a book that I wrote years and years ago. And it's about Houdini coming back from, actually being able to come back from the grave.
Houdini was it seems like Houdini was a very big part of your life.
Well, he was, because I got into magic when I was 6 years old, and then all of a sudden, people started saying, you're like Houdini, you're like Houdini. So I was like, who is this guy Houdini, you know? And so I had to find out, you know, had to look into it, delve into it. And first thing you know, I was doing a lot of his escapes, and I got a DVD course out. This is not just one DVD, it's a course of escapology, the art of escape.
Is that in book form, or is that on a disc that they can buy?
That's on a disc, and I've got a number of DVDs from shows here in Vegas.
Where's the place where they can get that?
They can get it at the Magic Shop, or they can order it at Dixie's Magic Shop online.
Online, that would be your webpage, correct?
Right. Mm-hmm. Okay. And there's all kinds. There's one about seances. And all kinds of things. So there's a lot, and I try to make the Magic Shop where there's a lot of different things in there, unique things.
You keep talking about this Magic Shop. I want to hear about this. Do you want to hear about this Magic Shop, Mary? Mary, maybe you can buy a few things in there.
I'm going to go visit it myself.
Yeah, come in. We'll saw you in half.
There you go. Then we can have
then there'll be two of you, and you can get twice as much done. Yeah.
I love it. So tell me a little bit about this magic store that you have.
Well, it's at the Boulevard Mall, and it is
where in Vegas?
Here in Las Vegas. And it's been open for years there. We get a lot of attention. We were doing shows right next to the Magic Shop. And the type of show that I did there was different than any other show that I did, because the type of show that I did at the Magic Shop was a regular magic show. Say if you have a kid and you want to bring one of your children to see the magic show, and you expect to see rabbits and cards and doves and all this. And so that's what I tried to give them with that magic show.
But they understand it, yeah.
But the show is down right now because of COVID. Yeah. The Magic Shop is open. And I also have a curiosity shop. It's on Russell Road in Las Vegas too, and it's just a small curiosity shop.
What's the street?
Russell and Pecos.
Russell and Pecos. I want people to know where you are.
It's in the antique mall. It's a huge antique mall.
Oh.
And I have a curiosity shop which has very rare.
I have an antique store too, but I have my antique stores in the American mall.
Oh, okay. I know where that's at. I love antiques. I love antiques.
My mum and dad were antique dealers, so it's in the blood. I had to have a store.
That is wonderful. I really do. I really love antiques. Yeah. And when it comes to antique magic and posters and collectibles.
Yeah, the problem is I'm becoming an antique myself.
Me too.
You can't stop it. And you can't say, well, I don't want any more, and you turn it off. It does. Maybe you could make magic.
You're a precious antique, I tell you that, and you're very beautiful. So.
Oh, that's sweet. Thank you. Thank you so much. Mary, what do you think about all this magic? And then you know where their stores are now. Now you could actually, go down there and see what's going on.
Well, yeah, I'll go down there. I'm an antique too, but I'll go down there.
Yeah, but look at all the knowledge we have. I turn around and say, I really don't mind because I've got all this knowledge and all this stuff. So it's kind of it was worthwhile going through it all.
Right.
Mary, I would like to find out again from you how we can get hold of you and how anybody can sort of.
I did write these down because there's so much information you can find if you just.
I think the best thing to do for anybody out there is go to wfwp.us. I think that's
right. That's right.
And
international is just as easy. WFWPI. Yeah. But contact us personally through this other email that's in Las Vegas.
Okay.
And I'd love to send something to anyone who, writes in. There's so much going on with Women's Federation, so very much that there's just not enough time to even talk about it.
Especially now, because it's kind of in a woman's place right now because the women are the ones, that are trying to keep the home going with having the husband home.
That's right. That's right. So, and then this is the other one.
Oh, look.
This is the book, Mother of Peace, book.com. And so any information with those websites, you can get
Mary,
so much about us. Yeah.
Your heart is in the right place. You wrote that out yourself. You got all this together yourself and everything.
Yeah, because I knew I just
admire you for that.
Didn't know when I was gonna get a chance to say too much. But anyway, information.
What important thing do you have to say right now? What is the most important thing you would like to get out there right now?
I would say live a life of service to others. Okay. It just came to me, but the world of heart and the world of service and the world of gratitude. I mean, it's what we need to be doing. And if we did that, we'd have peace and we'd have a nice world. So
we're heading that way a little bit because we've obviously had a lot of problems with everybody being at home, but we've also had a lot of great stories about everybody reconnecting with their children and their husbands and their wives or girlfriends or whatever the case may be. I think we've had a tremendous connection with that with a lot of people. I always look at the positive side. What about you, Dixie? This is sort of this whole thing that we've been going through it's a tragedy in one way, but at the same time, it's kind of brought a lot of people together, and a lot of things have happened that we never thought would happen in our lives with our family.
Absolutely, and it's kind of eliminated a lot of the people from Las Vegas that just came here to get rich quick and everything. The real performers who live here and entertainers that live here and make it their life and life's work, I think they will remain and they'll establish themselves again with shows and move forward. I used to leave my audiences with something I used to say, there is a such thing as real magic in the world. It's called love. When you find love in life, you know the true meaning of what magic surely is.
Oh, I love it. I love how you keep doing that.
I used to close my show with that.
Well, that's a good closing. That's like an energy closing, isn't it? That's like putting like this magic thing up. It's like energy is sort of going into you and you're feeling it. What about you, Zamora?
Changes, connections, the positive parts of the COVID. Is this what you're asking?
Yeah, I'm like, this has kind of given us the whole world, such a different turnaround.
Certainly, things are going to be completely changed forever. Some of this was kind of coming anyway. Some of the stuff in the background, you can see it. I wondered, a lot of people don't realize if things like this have happened in the past and you don't have things like the internet, things like that. You don't have the global connections that we have now, and realize that there's some luck of having, this type of event happen. As I said, it's happened in the past. If you go, 1918, Spanish flu was a much greater tragedy. but people didn't have this type of connection, so they connect so quickly with people around the globe. So that we're able to, go through this. We do have some ways that make it easier for us and make it easier to connect with other people still.
I think because it's a worldwide thing, it's sort of connecting us also to other countries, because when you have the same thing happening in Italy or in England or anywhere.
It's also, I think, been a great leveler to a lot of people. A lot of when you find out that some of the movie stars and some of the famous people or wealthy people or whatever are having to stay in their apartments or their houses, just like you are, and basically go through what we're going through, it shows the human side, that we're all humans. We're no matter how famous we are or who we know or how much money we have.
Yeah,
we're all stuck in my mansion, just like the. Sorry.
He said he's stuck in his mansion.
This is awful.
He's stuck with me.
Yeah, whose home is this? Is this your home?
This is my home. I call it Dixieland, and it has all kinds of
some antiques there. I see those pictures there or something. I don't know what they look like.
There's
the
whole house. The whole house is full of. In fact, I think Pawn Stars filmed here just a couple of weeks ago, and they went through the house and filmed all the antiques and posters and handcuff collections and old books and illusions and all kinds of rare, unusual, unique things I've collected all my life on my tours overseas and everything. So it's quite a place. It really is.
It sounds like it. It sounds amazing.
Yeah.
Is your house like that, Mary? Full of Houdini?
Not like Houdini. I have a lot I've done in my life, but it's not a museum, no.
Yeah, that's what I imagine you do. I imagine you have a lot of different places you've been to. I hope you've had a lot of awards, because you certainly deserve them. And sort of, AJ, how are we doing for time? What do you think? You sit there listening to, about the COVID-19 and how they've all three of them have still continued doing different things, though.
Yeah, the time is still going fine. We're really good on time. And I do want to touch on, for Mary, I want to touch on who she works with, Sarah Hirano, who is also a part of the Women's Federation of Peace. I'm sorry, Women's Federation for World Peace.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry about that. And also I wanted her to mention Dr. Moon, she did, and something about Japan and Korea and Africa. Can you mention a little bit?
Dr. Moon, is that in Boston?
In Boston?
There was a Dr. Moon in Boston. That's not.
Oh, maybe he was in Boston too. But
I don't know.
For the last 4 decades, Dr. Moon, Reverend Sam Myung Moon, and Dr. Hak Jahan Moon have been around. Yes. And now he has passed away, and she has taken a baton like no other. She has continued, and it is just making amazing strides in the world of peace. And all of that, if you go to those websites, you can learn so much.
Absolutely. Let me just touch on something with you. My thing about women want to sort of liberate themselves. I'm trying to figure out what they're liberating themselves from, because they seem to have it pretty easy.
I don't think we talk that way. We're not talking about liberate.
No, we don't need to be liberated. We are who we are, and we are very strong women. There's a lot of strong women out there. And what I was going to say was, I think an awful lot of women underestimate themselves and blame it on something else. Not everyone, because, I've got a new thing coming out. Well, not coming out, it's out already. That if a man wants a date, and if the woman says no, it's no. If he wants to marry her and she says no, it's no. So it's kind of, the man is definitely the man, but if the woman doesn't want it, it's not going to happen. So this is where I think women, is that true, Dixie?
Very true.
Yeah, but go to a dance, you ask a woman to dance, she says, no, thank you.
I used to think two people met and they would fall in love. Well, as I got older, I found out the woman really always chose the man. It was always her choice.
Yeah, and it's funny because even when they get engaged and they get married and the whole bit, it's always the man always seems to says, "Let me keep my wife happy. Let's whatever she would like to do."
Yeah.
You want a happy marriage?
See,
Say yes.
I know these things, because I've been happily married a bunch of times.
Oh,
That's funny.
I see. I've been happily married 4 decades.
Oh, well, congratulations.
4 decades.
You've done better than I have.
In an international marriage.
Oh, what nationality is your husband? It's getting exciting now. Oh, what's going on?
Japanese.
What is he?
Japanese.
Oh, Japanese. How wonderful. They say Japanese men are wonderful to their women. Is that true?
Well, not only that, they are wonderful people.
Yes.
So,
Yeah, great race.
and he
Yeah,
is,
great
yeah,
race.
definitely.
So you've been married 3 decades. I was married 3 decades
yeah.
with my husband, but my husband was Italian. So
Oh.
yes, I had an Italian. Yes, he was wonderful, wonderful. I had the greatest marriage any woman could have. For me. I mean, maybe.
Oh, that's wonderful.
He
That,
had 2 other wives, and obviously
Yeah.
it wasn't good for them. So, but anyway.
empowering women. Yes.
Yeah, so anyway, back to the question I was asking, women need to have a little bit more confidence, don't you think?
Yes. And that's what
Don't be
we,
so aggressive as wanting to be.
when we're together and we have the same ideals and the same, mindset, we can empower each other. We can help each other. And
You just said something beautiful.
Women's Federation does that. We empower each other. And
A lot of women don't empower each other. Men seem to get on better together. They empower each other. They don't seem to have this jealousy thing. Women have this awful jealousy thing going on. I mean, a woman, if she meets a new guy, the girlfriend will not meet that new guy till she's probably engaged, or 6 months later. She'll never introduce him. Because, that's how it works. Right, Dixie?
Well, it brings me back to the stories I heard about Marilyn Monroe, how every head would turn when she'd walk into the room, but she'd end up sitting by herself, and all the women would be like, hee and talking about, and the men were too intimidated to go over and talk to her. So she'd sit there the whole night by herself.
And do you know something? I believe that 100%. I believe that if you look good, you can't, and if you don't look good, you can't. I mean, it's like, but I think with the Women's Federation, I think that of peace.
It's the world of the heart. Yeah.
Yes, it's a whole different thing.
It's a whole different thing. And
you can just be, just be yourself. And I think more women should just, I always say, why don't you go into your bedroom? Because to me, that's the most tranquil place to go. And just sit there and understand who you are, what you are, and like yourself. It's the same with men. I think, there's some men out there that don't like themselves as much, but it's a tough world. But now we're being tested because we're all home. We're not home alone.
I think time changes men's perspective of relationships as well too. I know I didn't feel the same when I was in high school as I do now about women and relationships and everything,
Are you married now?
No, I'm single.
You're single. Now, Mary, you're still married, obviously.
I've finally come to my senses. No, I'm just.
Well, I have come to my senses.
Have you come to your senses and decided to stay with your husband, right?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
Now, is he about the same age as you, or is he older or younger?
3 years younger. He's in his 60s and I'm in my 70s.
Oh, that's cool. How cool is that?
Yeah.
Usually it's the reverse, isn't it?
My mom and dad were like that. My mom was a year older than my dad. Yeah.
Oh, really? My mother was 5 years older, and in those days it was like that.
Your family was like that too, and his family, his mom was 7 years older.
Oh wow! Yeah. What a great conversation this is. So are you, Dixie? Wait a minute, Zamora, are you married?
No, I'm not married.
You sound like you don't want to get married too.
No, I did that once, and I figured, I'd be the type of person who'd never get married or get married a lot. I got married once, and then I decided, it hasn't happened again. I'll just say that. Short story, it hasn't happened again.
Yeah, you haven't. Well, my husband passed away several years ago.
Oh,
I just haven't. Yeah, oh, the best man. But anyway, but he passed away, and it's funny. But I'm not saying I want to replace him because you could never replace anybody because everybody's so different. But I'm sort of so busy with everything else I'm doing, and that I think he would get in the way. I don't know. I haven't tried it yet.
Sometimes it's really like that. If you have a busy schedule and all, sometimes, and I was always the type of person that I just, I stayed with the wife and did what she wanted to do, and now that I'm single again, I'm finally able to get out, like the Tombstone trip. Things like that. I always wanted to go to Tombstone. I could never convince her to go to Tombstone with me.
What is Tombstone?
Tombstone, Arizona, where the gunfight was, and Wyatt Earp and things like that. It's more of a man's interest, I think, than a female interest. So
you know, it's funny. Hal Roach was a very good friend of mine, and he told me something about they had a big conflict with the Indians, the true Indians from American Indians, and the big massacre that went through this pass or something. He was telling me about this history. It was absolutely amazing.
Right.
Happened in America that we don't know.
Little Bighorn, yeah.
Yeah, the big one. That's right. It was the big one. When he was telling me, I obviously wasn't concentrating as much as I should, but I didn't quite understand everything he was talking about. But it was okay.
Custer's Last Stand.
I'm sorry?
The name of it was Custer's Last Stand, where the whole 7th Cavalry was actually wiped out.
That's right. That's exactly
They were slaughtered, yeah.
And he said it was never like they put it out there. He said it was completely different. He said it was never like the way. He apparently met one of these, the American Indians, and this woman told him the whole story and everything. So there's a lot of history that has been twisted that we don't know about.
Yeah, it's like that a lot about history. I love history. I just pick and choose what I like, and then I investigate it. You know,
Dixie and I might get married. He likes antiques. He likes this, he likes that.
Let's do it.
So we have about 10 minutes left. I just wanted to let you know, and so I just wanted to bring that attention to everybody. So if we could get everybody to mention their
contact. Let's go to Mary for a couple. Mary, you got 2 minutes to talk about where you want people to find you and everything else. So
okay, well, yeah, it's hard to go back a little bit now. Let's see. What I felt like when I was I thought if people really want to get in touch with me or us, just keep putting up that if they really want it, all they have to do is just do
follow that,
or they have to just find us there, and they will learn so much about us. But the thing is that
how do you get enrolled in this? How do you become a member, or how do you get enrolled?
Yes, so by going to this website on the top, wfwp.us, there's an area that says how to become a member. It has many different areas of our work, and this is how you can learn so much about us, almost more than I could even state, at all. So all they have to do is just go in there, and then you'll see so much.
Now, this is not a religious thing, and it's not a political thing, right? It's nothing to do with
politics. Not political, and it's not religious. Although we do, God is part of our lives, Creator, whatever you want to.
But I mean, so anybody could become a member.
Absolutely. We have members in all diverse areas. Here in Las Vegas, we have a truly diverse group of members. A lot of authors, speakers, entertainers, and people who work in NGOs, and every type of person, is represented, and we're very international. So it's so much. It's wonderful to be together.
Because if someone's living here and their mother and father, say, are in Yugoslavia or wherever, I just thought that up, They could have that connect. Women could have a connection here. It could be Romania, Yugoslavia, it could be London, it could be anywhere. The families could connect through this beautiful program you have. So I think it would be wonderful to keep that connection open. And the reason I wanted to make sure that, you know, anybody can join, because everybody seems to be on this side or that side in politics and everything. So let's just get that out of that completely and just become human beings. And
they need to be positive people.
Yeah, positive. Of course, yes, absolutely. Yeah, you don't need negative. No negative. Yeah. No negative.
Well, they have to have a purpose, you know, for joining. And the best purpose is that we can work together. And
I love that. Peace.
So much is done because we do that.
Okay, so let's go over to Dixie now. Now, Dixie, you've got a couple of minutes. You've got your you've got your 2 stores. You've got your magic tricks. You've got everything going. Tell me more.
It's a crazy world we're living in today. Like Zamora was saying, that we're so easily connected to each other from all over the world now that it's amazing to see what. I used to go to malls and places and people watch. And now you can people watch online, you know, on Facebook or wherever. And so you learn about people and you learn about what they're doing and their ideas. And I still think there's hope for the world. You know what I mean? As long as there's people like Gracie, there'll be hope in the world. Yes.
Absolutely.
It's magic.
So Dixie, you have your store on the mall. Whereabouts on the mall is it?
It's right at the end of the food court. If you go to the Boulevard Mall, which is on Maryland Parkway, you just you go to the food court, have a snack, and
you're where
down
the
there.
Galaxy Theaters are.
And you'll see the whole end of the food court is Dixie's Magic Shop. And you also find it on Facebook at Dixie's Magic Shop.
Dixie's Magic Shop, we can find you. Anywhere else can we find you, Dixie?
Dixie Dooley, my Facebook, and it's updated 100 times a day, I promise you. It's all kinds of stuff on there every day.
So you updated a lot.
Gracie's on there, our trips are on there, things that we're doing are on there, you know.
Well, that's the way you do it these days. I wish more people would learn that. Mary, you're going to make sure you do that. You're going to make sure you put everything up.
Right. And hopefully when the shows come back, you know, I'll have another theater and we'll have different shows, because in my theater there at the Majestic Theater, we had all kinds of different shows. We had a Judy Garland show with Denise Rose. We had Michael Aslan with his, it was a Wild West show that he did, Wild West Magic show that he did. So it's like where he would sell the Doc's Goodall, you know, cure all the things and things like that with magic.
On my other show yesterday.
Mike Aslan?
Yeah,
he was in my theater.
He's an older guy with gray hair?
Mm-hmm. He was in my theater. And then we had, and Zamora did his show there.
Yeah.
And we had and Elvis in there. We had just all kinds of shows. I had like 5 shows a week in there. So hopefully we'll get that up and running again. I love small theaters because you get that personal touch.
Well, yes, and also you don't have to fill so many people. You've got the touch, and it's not so sort of. I think it's more boutique. It's like a boutique show.
You know, when they started doing the theaters where they had like 2,000, 5,000 people in the theaters and all, I thought it was lost. The performers were lost. What they were doing were lost. You couldn't read it real well.
Not at all. Okay, so now Zamora. I hope I'm pronouncing her name right, but I love Zamora.
If you'd like to know how to get a hold of me, find out what's going on, I have Facebook. If you go Zamora the Torture King, whenever I come back and do shows, that's where to find out about it. I also have a book corner inside the Magic Shop. I have a weird book for sale. If you look Las Vegas, a weird book corner on Facebook, and a very eclectic collection of books on all types of strange and unusual subjects.
I can imagine, because what you do is, you know, the Torture King. It's fascinating to find out, you know, what exactly you do and how you do it, and if I'm still going to be alive when you finish with me.
Indeed. I've done some writing. I wrote a book, co-authored the book Weird Las Vegas in Nevada, which is a major publisher of Sterling Publications. And some blogs. If you look for me online, you'll find blogs about various odd subjects I've written about.
So you're a writer as well. You're all three of you. Mary, you're a writer, right?
Well, I do write.
Well, you'll be writing a book soon because you've had a fascinating life anyway. So you've all been absolutely wonderful. AJ, is there anything you would like to ask any one of our guests?
I just want to thank them very much. And I do want to ask Gracie, this is her debut appearance on Ninon Speaks. I'd like to, hi Gracie, how are you? You're the best dog in the world.
Oh,
and
Gracie.
you. Hi, Gracie. And what does Gracie think? What does Gracie think?
Woof, woof. Woof, woof. He's like,
Gracie. Well, you know, Zamora is Zamora the Torture King. To Gracie, he is Uncle Tim.
Oh, how sweet.
His uncle, her uncle.
I would like to personally thank all three of you for coming on, and of course AJ as well for putting this together.
Yes, AJ. Thank you, AJ.
I would like to thank Georgette as well. I would like to Steve Bannon as well, and Susan King, all of you jumping in on this Ninon Speaks. And what we're trying to do is give you some publicity to try to help you, all of you, in any way you can. And of course, anybody out there listening can just get hold of AJ, and we can get them on and we can give them some publicity, let people know that, because everything you are all doing is sort of helping somebody else or making them laugh or improving their life. So you're all doing something. You might not think you are, but you are doing something. And we're trying to put you all out there so that people don't forget the entertainment business. They don't forget the giving in this world and helping other people. And that's what we like to do, and help as many people as we possibly can, and get you all out there. And hopefully all of you will gain from this. This show will be up in about a couple of days. AJ puts this show up pretty fast. She's very very good. I always like to try to close the show out before it clicks itself off. So again, thank you all three of you for coming on, and thank you, AJ.
Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you.